Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Keegan Bond back for another episode of Potluck Culture, and returning today is, of course, my friend Ryan.
Hey, everybody.
Ryan last time joined us when we talked about what again?
We talked about James Gunn and all of his productions that everybody is looking so forward to that are coming out.
That's right. And,
Yeah.
I actually so far the more progress has been. Well, no, more has more light has shined on those that we talked about ever since then.
Yeah, there's been some sneak peeks, and of course, by means of leaks. I know you and I have looked at some pictures of the set of Doomsday, for example.
Yeah, actually, that actually goes fall into what we're going to talk about today, because everyone knows that the next Avengers movie is called Doomsday, which originally was supposed to be the Kang Dynasty, but then of course that whole thing with Jonathan Majors happened, so the studio had to do a little rewriting and give the role over to Doctor Doom. Now, just a little recap. What do you know about this new movie coming out?
So I know it's got a star-studded cast. I'm thrilled about just seeing all of the different characters, all of the different faces that are so familiar from all of our other favorite pop culture movies and references, of course. I know that they're trying to be very secretive. They're trying to keep everybody out. They are certainly not letting anybody, very easily anyway, find out any inside information from the outside, that is. So it's very secretive, very, very secretive right now.
Because they want this to top Endgame.
Well, with the way they're, acting like Secret Service around the president of the U.S., it's sealed tight. So I think they're doing a good job on keeping everybody on the edge of their seat.
Even if they're very coy about something, that still makes you think, I wonder.
What are they hiding? Are they hiding a twist? Are they hiding, some sort of cast appearance? Who knows?
But in the end, it'll be worth the wait.
I think so. I'm excited.
I don't know if you got this, but they kind of delayed the release for it because it was supposed to be May of next year, but then they moved it to December of next year.
That's right. And again, knowing James Gunn and just all of the work that's gone into all of these movies, if they push off their production, it's because they're not satisfied with what they're going to get if they didn't. So I imagine they're really pushing for that better product.
Yeah, and it gives them more time for filming and post-production.
Yeah, definitely.
Same delayed release for the next one, Secret Wars.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Now, like you said, there's a star-studded cast up here, but that, remember the other day at the gym, I was, constantly waiting through their Instagram live, and every name popped up, and I'm like, yo, Ryan, look at this! Look who's going to be in the movie!
And there were some that we would have expected for any other Marvel Avengers movie, but I mean there were a lot of them that were curveballs, and the characters that they were playing as, I wasn't dissatisfied with any of the name pulls on that list. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a cool way to do it too. It definitely kept everybody watching.
Yeah, you said, some names were expected, some I didn't expect, but were happy to see.
Right.
Especially for the X-Men.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That left me sitting with my mouth wide open, tell me I'm dreaming. Please tell me I'm dreaming. This has got to be fake.
And of course, anytime you see Pablo Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro, not Pablo. I'm so sorry. Pedro Pascal. Yes. Of course, he's got a long list of movies that are recognizable, and just to see him in the movie, and not even just the actors, but the characters too. Seeing we're gonna have an appearance from Cyclops. I'm so excited to see a modernized Cyclops. That's awesome.
Actually, the getting further that we'll find out if he's modern or not. But actually, before we did this movie, because there are a couple of movies that we had to see first. Obviously, the ones that came after Endgame, all the way up to recently. How many did you see?
Up until recently, well, I should say recently, I have not seen as many as I wish I could, but I think the last time I was really fully into a lot of the Avengers movies was probably the Black Panther movies. It's been too long for me to be removed in terms of going and watching in theater. So there's so much to catch up on, but that's why I get so excited talking about it, because it gets me going back to rewatch and reconnect all the dots,
Yeah.
So
there was a Black Panther movie that came out that is something that we had to see before this, because the two people, no, actually three people who are confirmed to return were the Black Panther, which ends up being his sister.
Yep.
And then of course Namor,
yep.
the submariner, and M'Baku, or Man-Ape, played by Winston Duke.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And that, again, these are characters that don't always get the spotlight. They don't always get to shine, so to see them in kind of like a pivotal part of the timeline, a pivotal part of the story, is just cool. And I think they do a really good job of that.
Yes, I believe so. And of course, there were, like I said, even though we have to see the movies before we do that, there were three crucial ones that we had to see before that. And that was the new Captain America, just recently Thunderbolts, and actually coming later this month is the Fantastic Four.
Yes, I am so excited for that one too.
Well, of course we have one more after that, but I don't know if it'll be a stepping stone or not, but it's the fourth Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be exciting. Who's going to be playing Peter Parker for that one?
Oh, it's still Tom Holland.
Okay, good. Great. I mean, I'm okay with either, but Tom Holland is the Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man of the Sacred Timeline.
Right, yes. That's what yeah, exactly.
We still don't know if he's going to be in this movie or not, or if they're waiting to put him into Secret Wars.
That would be awesome, too. To have not so much a cameo, but just a featured scene with Spider-Man.
To acknowledge that he'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's whether you're looking at the cast names or the characters they're playing, it's a star-studded movie one way or another. It's very, or both ways if you look at it both ways. It's very exciting.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna go right ahead because they already released a synopsis of what this movie's gonna entail. Did I say the right word?
Yeah.
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 It's not. It doesn't spoil the plot. Just gives you an idea of what to look for.
Sure.
They basically said that 14 months after the events of Thunderbolts, the Thunderbolts, who are actually going to be in this, the Avengers, the Wakandans, that's the country that Black Panther's from.
Yep.
The Fantastic Four.
Yep.
And the original X-Men. I guess they're referring to the original X-Men stars from the Fox movies.
Wow.
They will all come together to face Doctor Doom.
Wow. Yeah. That's going to be quite the battle.
Yes, indeed.
That is going to be quite the battle. Something to look forward to. So we have Thunderbolts too. And the Thunderbolts movie, my understanding, you saw that movie in theaters, right?
Yes, I saw it.
Yes. And again, another one that I wish I would have got out and saw it. But almost there. I'm almost there. Thunderbolts, again, even just looking at the cast, whether it be the names of the stars that are playing these characters or just the characters themselves, again, well done on the cast play there. Great cast for great characters. And of course, David Harbour, phenomenal actor.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. He obviously has one of the front center roles in that movie, but to be seen by me, it'll be very exciting.
Exactly. So, this movie, along with the sequel, they're going to be directed again by the Russo brothers, who did the last two Avengers, and of course they did 2 Captain America movies.
Yeah. Yep.
And they said that these movies are going to be loosely based off of the 2 Secret Wars comic book stories, the one from '84 and the one from 2015. I think they're mainly going to take some elements from the 2015 one, because this involves the collision of different realities, and they refer to as incursions, which have been mentioned in previous movies like this.
The blending of 2 realities, right?
It's more like a. I don't know how to explain it, but if you
like a parallel universe kind of.
No, it's like if you end up in a reality outside of your own, and it doesn't, you never know the danger that you might put, like the larger footprint you leave behind.
Oh, yes.
That can cause the risk of what is called an incursion, when the boundary between these 2 or 3 universes or roads resulted in the collapse of either one of them or the whole.
Entirely.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a trip thinking about it, but it entirely makes sense.
That is going to play a role in this, because obviously they wouldn't mention the previous movies for nothing.
Right. Yes.
Which brings to what people are saying. Now there are some insiders out there on the web who have, most of them are accurate, not 100%, but by an 80% chance. Others that are just seeking attention, but there have been some insiders out there who believe that they have discovered at least the first act of Doomsday.
Or do they?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they may have, because none of these people, they don't work for these studios, or who knows if they have real ties with them.
Right. Just trying to get some clout or a clickbait article by their first up-and-coming, employer, or who knows, you know?
Yeah, mostly that's the case.
Yeah, I would think so at this point. Like we were saying, how tight-locked their security has been on that set. They've built walls of cargo containers around the set to keep people not just out, but from being able to see in completely.
Yeah,
It's
obviously we got drone shots of what they were building.
Sure, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and that's the ticket right there.
Yeah, it gives you a picture of what it's going to look like, but you got to figure what is this going to say.
Yeah.
So this insider, I can't get their name. Oh, Daniel Richmond. Okay, yeah. So he is a reliable person who has gotten some of things correct, but not entirely.
Okay, right. So it's a shot in the dark if this is reliable.
Yes.
And not by means of him, trying to distort the minds of his readers, but I'm sure he's going off of intel that he's probably received.
Yes.
And whether or not he deems it reliable is what
it still gives you something to look forward to and heighten your excitement.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's a teaser almost,
Yes.
Yeah.
So he believes that how this movie is going to start off is whatever happens at the end of these next coming movies, how it all starts, that the Fantastic Four, who knows how they're gonna get to the main reality, because their movie is set in a different reality in the 1960s.
Right, which is going to be also very fun to watch, as the whole set is going to be engulfed in that era.
Yes.
So it's going to be you're going to have to change gears, I think,
exactly,
to watch that one and then watch Doomsday right after. So.
Exactly. So who knows what happens and how they get to the main reality? We don't know. But what happens when they do get there? I'm guessing they're trying to find Victor. That's Doctor Doom.
Yep.
I guess they're trying to find it because I think they're hot on his trail, because I think they, just like him, discovered that there was a multiverse out there, and that there's a power who wanted to either take control of it or destroy it. And I guess Victor sees an opportunity to take the power for himself, but then also try to save reality in the process, but to his benefit.
Wow. Sounds a lot like someone we know from other Avengers movies. The snap of a finger. Goodness.
Exactly. So I guess they follow him there, and they cross paths with both the Avengers and Thunderbolts, and they get intel from, I guess, an ally elsewhere, who knows who they are, who warns them about these incursions that are going on outside in outer space. I meant to say, because in a previous movie, The Marvels, that's the sequel to Captain Marvel, one of the protagonists ends up trapped in the reality where the X-Men are.
Dang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where we first see Kelsey Grammer return as the Beast.
Right on. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the longer she stays there, the greater risk she causes an incursion between the two realities.
Sure.
So I'm guessing...
because she's not meant to be there.
Yes. So I'm guessing they're reading off of that for whatever technology they're doing, And so once they put two and two together, I guess they used the same way the Four got to the main reality, to that reality, to try to find her. And I guess they kind of assume that she's being held captive, so they get a little hero versus hero. I mean,
yeah, this is quite literally a. Now, if you can almost take it like time travel in your mind, and then instead of time, place it to completely different existences or existences.
Well, the thing is, time is irrelevant in the multiverse.
Correct.
You can go to a different reality, but the when and where, that doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
Just like how the Four will go from their New York in the 1960s to another New York, but in the 2020s.
Right.
Like how the people from Spider-Man No Way Home were pulled from their New Yorks, but half of them were pulled from the 2000s, the other half from the 2010s into the 2020s.
Dang. So it really throws off like the whole. It's one of those things where, like, again, it pulls not just the plot into different movies, but it pulls the whole storyline together.
Exactly.
You know?
Especially when it comes to the X-Men reality, because the whole time they were owned by Fox, the continuity was kind of if.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I feel that.
I get it. We got these movies that shows Charles Xavier and Magneto in their youth, but then it just gets confusing.
Right. Yes, and I agree. Magneto in his youth, so strong.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes. But I think I think we have the Deadpool and Wolverine movie to thank for resolving all of that that confusion.
I think, yeah.
Because in a deleted scene of that movie, one person who works at the TVA, I'm not sure if you know what that is, right?
I don't.
Okay, the TVA, that's first introduced in the Loki series.
Okay.
They're a bureaucracy outside of time and space that was built by one of the Kanes, or at least a variant of Kane.
Okay.
To their original purpose was to monitor the multiverse and prune the way that they portray the multiverse. Think of it as like a line, a timeline in a loop.
Sure.
And say a decision was made that created a new possible reality. That timeline branches.
Nope.
But the problem is this Kane variant. I'm just calling by his real name, Nathan.
Okay. Yep.
He made the TVA because after he first discovered the multiverse, he counted his variants. Some were eccentric scientists like him, but most of them were conquerors.
Right, that's right.
Kane the Conqueror.
Conqueror, yeah.
And so this started an all-out war that nearly destroyed everything and everyone until Nathan encountered a creature called Goliath to end the war. And so, as a contingency, he isolated his reality, the sacred timeline, and created the TVA to monitor for any branches to prevent any variations of him.
Right. To protect everything in existence from being at risk again from another war of the Kings.
There are some merits within it because this does involve the annihilation of other people in different realities.
Dang.
But that it destroys other hymns in the process.
Right.
So then once the TVA discovered the truth thanks to Loki, they realized they were on the wrong side of history. So their new mission was to still monitor the multiverse, but try to protect not just the sacred timeline, but the other timelines from anything or anyone that could be a threat.
Gotcha. That is cool.
But I think they're so focused on monitoring for different Kanes that they don't realize that there are other people out there who could pose as equal threat.
Right.
Victor Von Doom.
Yep. Dr. Doom.
Who has a potential blood link to Kane.
I was going to say, there is some sort of link there. I didn't know it was a bloodline link, though.
Because Kane is a direct blood descendant of Mr. Fantastic. Yes.
Wow, what a twist. I didn't know this.
Exactly.
Wow, all right.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you cannot have a Kane without a Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But you can't have a Fantastic Four without a Doctor Doom.
It's like a paradox.
Yeah, neither can you have a Secret Wars without Doctor Doom, because he plays a pivotal role.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. That's crazy. And of all character, it would, from the Fantastic Four, it would have to be Mr. Fantastic.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because so he's got.
Sorry, I'm wrapping my head around this.
No.
That's awesome.
This is totally great.
Yeah.
So he's got the Richard's intellect, but the ambition of Doom.
Right. Yeah. So it's that is the best of both worlds, both good and evil. That's the dichotomy of that whole character list right there.
Exactly.
The whole battle. Wow.
So, in the deleted scene of Deadpool Wolverine, an agent of the TVA has expressed that the reality of the X-Men, which they labeled Earth 10,005, it's full of troublemakers because they had a monitor showing different timelines. Once they zoomed into that timeline, it was one timeline, but with multiple branches all at once. So you get the idea.
Yeah. So there was a lot of incursions, and they didn't like that.
It wasn't really incursions. It was like different possibilities that's hard to keep track.
Right, and so they found it too complicated to keep track.
Yes, it's one reality but multiple timelines.
Right. Okay. Yes.
And
so they're like the reality / timeline police essentially, but for their own benefit.
Well, and the benefit of others. But then again, so at the end of Deadpool Wolverine, that whole timeline gets regenerated. So you think about it. It's one reality, but it's not so confusing anymore.
Right.
And so that happened in 2024 in the Sacred Timeline. So Monica, she's the person from the Marvels.
Right.
She gets trapped in that exact same reality, but in 2026.
Wow, far out.
And so I'm guessing she'll be trapped there for, I guess, maybe weeks or months, depends on, because time works differently.
It's irrelevant in the multiverse, right?
Yes.
So it depends on her rescue, really.
Yes.
It depends on who discovers it and how they get her out.
Yes. And I guess later they all come to realize they're all on the same side, and they have to join forces to go against Doom. And this insider stated that this is a must because Loki will be in this, and
of course,
and he kind of helped the TVA could establish their new mission.
Right, when he realized that they were on the wrong side of history.
Yes, and so Daniel is saying that his source is telling them that part of Doom's plan is to not only reach the TVA so that he can overthrow it, not just overthrow him, but overthrow Nathan and his variants.
Right.
But I think he wants to reach Loki, who has taken that variant's place at the end of time, watching over everything.
Yeah.
Because I think he wants to suck the power out of him.
Because he knows he's like an eternal guard, so to speak.
Yes, because there's speculation that Victor wants to save all of reality from these incursions by taking snippets of each reality and merging them all into one world called Battle World.
Wicked, yeah. So obviously they would just kind of fight amongst themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then again, this is all speculation. This is not confirmed. We have until next Christmas to find out.
Yeah, there's a lot swirling, and I mean, with as much as I need to wrap my head around, I can only imagine how much more there is to come.
Exactly.
You know? That is fantastic. Exactly. Pun intended.
Yes, exactly. So actually, that's all we had to cover for this episode. I want to thank you very much for listening to us, and also, if you want more content like this, please be sure to comment, like, share, and or subscribe for more. Also, check out some of my other content, the reenactments. I know there's a lot of comparisons out there, but I promise I'm going to take a break from that and focus on new content. But then again, this is Kika Bond, along with Ryan. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.